How are we doing this evening, everybody? Might be one of the first times I've cammed up and might be on the verge of losing my voice. Although it's coming back. Just got home from the Seattle Thunderbirds game. By the way, if you guys get a chance, go to Wenatchee, Washington, see a Wenatchee Wild game. They're a lot of fun. All right. So, game one between the Seattle Thunderbirds and the Everett Silvertips is in the books. And first playoff game between the two teams. The Birds are victorious by a score of 2-1. Very intense defensive game from the Seattle Thunderbirds standpoint. Um, and a frustrating loss for Silvertips because they basically outplayed the T-Birds in the second and third periods. Uh, before we continue, I'll say this. If the T-Birds play like the way they did in the second and third period, they're not going to win the series. They're not going to. We cannot depend on goaltending like that. That was incredible goaltending. There were so many times where both both Everett and Seattle fans just were looking at the guy playing and just was like just thinking how in the world was the puck not going in the net. So I'm happy for the win. I'll take it. I'm glad that we're up 1-0 in the best of 7 series. I am, but I'm expecting Everett to come out in game 2 and punch us in the mouth. I really am. But let's go over what Rick Riz, the voice of Seattle Mariners, likes to say, the happy totals. So the Seattle Thunderbirds end up winning by a score of 2-1. T-Birds scored the first 2 goals. Russell Maxwell gets scores on the power play to open up the scoring 2.5 minutes into the game. On the power play, basically Everett's goaltender Austin Lotz made the initial save, but gave up a huge rebound, was out of position. The net was wide open, and Maxwell was right there to shoot it in the net. I'd like to say again, because I went with my buddy Canuck, thanks for the beer. We'll do it again for game 2 tomorrow. So I got the beer bet, which was nice. So Seattle's up 1-0. And then midway through the second period, Everett draws another penalty. And Shea Theodore, I understand its prospects, but if Shea Theodore ends up panning out and playing for the Anaheim Ducks, because he's the number 26th overall draft pick in last year's NHL draft, the guy has a cannon for a shot. I mean, he is that guy can shoot from the point and is just a fantastic scorer for a defenseman. Every single game, I've been to 3 T-Bird games now. I've seen him score twice, and in each game, he's just fired a laser toward the net and it just found the back. That he ends up scoring at the 11:44 mark of the first period. Dallas draft pick Brandon Truk and let me just get the first name. Matthew Barzell. Barzal. I knew about Barzal. I forgot his first name. They get the assist. It was a little controversy with that goal because the puck went in the back of the net, and apparently I haven't seen the replay, but apparently the net came off, and the Silvertip fans were not very happy that it was a goal because they thought that the net came off before the puck went in the net, and the ref said differently, and so the T-Birds were up 2-0 heading into second intermission. Then the T-Birds they had a lapse in control. I mean, they took a lot of stupid penalties. It started at the end of the first period. Justin Hickman took a penalty on interference with the goaltender. So Everett starts on the man advantage. And then the T-Birds killed that off. The T-Birds ended up drawing another penalty right before that was about to expire when Shea Theodore was called for roughing. So it was 5-on-4 for a while. And then Russell Maxwell took this really stupid tripping penalty. And it was blatantly obvious that he did trip the guy. So unfortunately, both of our scorers at that point were in the penalty box. It was 5-on-3. And I hope I'm saying this correctly. But Patrick Bakov from Everett, it's Bajkov. I hope I'm saying that correctly. He ends up getting Everett's only goal on the power play. Josh Winquist got one of the assists, as well as, let me get the name up here. I know more T-Birds than I know Silvertips. Ivan Nicolason got the assist. And that concluded the scoring. Unfortunately, just the T-Birds, it was almost as if they just laid down in the second period. I don't know what it has been, but I've been to now 3 Seattle Thunderbird games, and then for whatever reason, just the T-Birds collapsed in the second period at some point. They were outshot 19-4, and basically spent a good portion of the game of the second period shorthanded, and just unfortunately, and it looked like Everett was going to score again when Evan Wardley got a penalty in the third period at the 4:46 mark for kneeling. Everett couldn't score. And then after that, Everett got a penalty with Cole McDonald getting a penalty for tripping at the 15:47 mark. T-Birds couldn't capitalize, and but they were able to survive Everett's attack. Everett outshot Seattle 39-22. Again, it looked pretty even at the beginning. Everett had 13 shots compared to Seattle's 12 in the first. Again, lopsided in the second. For the third period, Everett had 7 compared to Seattle's 6. Austin Lotz, the Everett goaltender, was pulled, so he didn't play the entire game. He missed the last 37 seconds of the game, but stops 20 shots out of 22. Taran Kozin, just holy cow, just could not. The only reason why he allowed a goal is because Bakov found the corner of the net on a 5-on-3. That's the only reason why he gave that up. It was on his game. Stopped 38 of 39 shots and was just lights out. It was so many great saves. For the power play, Everett was 1 out of 6 compared to Seattle's 2 for 4, so that's good. Unlike last playoff series, the power play, last year's playoff series against the Rockets, the T-Birds never got their power play going throughout the entire series, so that's good. The power play has been very streaky this year, so hopefully that continues throughout the series. As far as for those of you who are interested, the crowd definitely did look like there were more Everett fans, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty even. It wasn't a sellout, which I was kind of surprised with, but Seattle fans were loud when they had to be loud, and the Tips, brought some cowbells. Also, kind of happy that the T-Birds let the Silvertip fans bring their cowbells in. That's usually something that we don't allow. So, kind of happy that the Everett Silvertip fans were classy about them. They rang them. I mean, I gotta give props where props is due. They rang them when it was appropriate to ring them. They didn't ring them from beginning to end compared to what they were when they first came out. Seattle fans were loud. We had a good mix of "Let's go Birds," "Let's go Tips." I thought that was good. Every Seattle fan yelling "Everett sucks." That was that was when we needed to be loud, and we got it. So, really fun atmosphere at the Shower Center tonight. So, moving on to Game 2. That game's going to be in Everett. It's going to be tomorrow. I'm actually going to go to the game with my buddy Canuck and a couple of friends. Excuse me. And it's going to be in Everett. It's actually not going to be in Kent. The reason why is because there was a schedule conflict at the Shower Center. So instead of the T-Birds hosting Game 1, 2, 5, and 7 if necessary, and the Tips hosting 3, 4, and 6 if necessary, it's going to go Kent, Everett, Kent, Everett, Kent, Everett, Kent. So both organizations actually apparently got together and talked about how it could work out so Seattle still has the home ice advantage, because, again, there is no home ice advantage in this series. And so because of that scheduling conflict, it's going to have this pattern compared to the usual, 2 games at one place, 2 games at another place, and then 1, 1, 1, 1, that format. So Game 2 will be in Everett tomorrow, 4 p.m. puck drop Pacific time. And I'm expecting Everett to come out and just punch Seattle in the mouth. I really am. They had multiple opportunities to score, and they didn't. Fans are getting frustrated. The players are getting frustrated. Kudos to the Seattle defense. The Seattle defense held its own. But they depended a little bit too much on Kozin. So we can't depend on Kozin to have a night like this in every single series. We can't expect that to happen. But I'll take it. Hopefully the Birds can learn from it and go up 2-0. I hope to win another beer bet from my buddy Canuck. So we'll just have to wait and see. And I'll recap game number 2 tomorrow as soon as I get home. So thanks very much for watching. Again, the Seattle Thunderbirds end up winning 2-1. Game 1, first time 2 teams ever meet in the Western Hockey League playoffs in the history of the league. And we'll recap game 2 tomorrow. Go Birds.